Do what you've been coached to do, what you know how to do, and play with incredible effort every snap. Hey, and for you seniors, make it one you'll never forget.
Let's go.
Everybody got it?
Let's
Let's
go.
get out there.
Let's go.
Let's go get it, man. Let's go!
Hi, and welcome to the Coach Bryan Moore Show. I'm Margaret Ann Prater alongside Coach Bryan Moore, and we will be airing every week on Wednesday on YouTube. So please tune in to lots of facts and figures about the games, a lot of evaluation, and also tune in on Friday nights to the NFHS network, where we'll broadcast our games if you can't make it to our football game. Before we begin, Coach, let's thank our sponsors: Life Church Agency on Main, Marmac Commercial Real Estate, Peck Funeral Home, Eddie Pruitt Ford, Express Bath, and Coleman Regional Hospital. Coach, we're 4-1. And I'm not going to lie, that was probably one of my top two Hartselle football games. The other one was Muscle Shoals last year.
Yep.
Lots of excitement. But the one difference I saw, coaches, players, everybody, y'all were having fun. Everybody was smiling. Everybody, it seemed like you were relaxed. We were in a tense environment.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you were ahead by 30 points.
Right.
What was the difference? What clicked to make y'all just really enjoy the moment?
Well, I think first off, just a lot of cool things happening in the game. The game had every element, aspect, from special teams to big plays, a defensive touchdown, a fake field goal, onside kick that maybe wasn't a called onside kick, but ended up working in our favor. So, just lots of things, and a low pressure game too. It's an out of region game. They're really good. They're going to win their region over there. So it's two teams that'll be hopefully at the top of their region, at the end of this year, and could be playoff, opponents and that sort of thing. So just a lot of fun, and we played really well. We played really hard. It wasn't perfect, but it was fun. It was fun to see our kids respond, and it's fun to see guys like Noah come in and play really well, Lincoln and Rye and Jace Pruitt again, and just so many that pitched in and played well. Just proud of our kids.
They did look good. I do want to ask about Gadsden City. What did they do on their game plan that you had to adjust to? What did they bring? Because I know we brought the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
What did you see when you went out there that you're like, whoa?
They had a really good offensive plan, I thought. We've talked a lot about that in our staff meeting, and just talking about some RPOs they hit early and sort of made us structurally not panic, but just sort of try and push the limits as far as playing man coverage and some things that we did to try to take those things away. So I thought they did a good job. They neutralized Porter. Porter had no plays in the game, which is the first time maybe in his career. He played really hard and played well, but they didn't give him any opportunities. And I get it. I wouldn't run at number 8 either.
No.
And so they kind of took our box players out of the game a little bit and did a really good job with it. But again, in the end, it's hard to live there, to where you're throwing the ball on the perimeter every play and you have no run game. Besides the 40-yard run that Dre made, we gave up 60 yards rushing. We were 98 total in the game. 40 of them came on one play. We really controlled the line of scrimmage again. But the story of the game, is our offensive line. I mean, they really, really finally gelled and played well and fought and, stayed connected to those guys. Because if you saw them up close, wow, they were really, really good-looking kids, man. They always have really good athletes. And so I thought it was a great challenge. But, yeah, I mean, they did a good job with game planning. Coach Smith's a great head coach. And so they threw some things at us as well. But again, just really proud of our kids and the resilience they showed.
And I know you're a big part of the offensive game plan. And I know today we're going to have two special guests when we do offensive questions. We're going to have Coach Will Lang and Coach Matt Prater here. But I wanted to ask you, when I saw that game plan and I saw everybody, you had 4 different guys behind center that I know of, that I can remember, and it was way out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
What did you do to Bryan Moore to say, okay, let's do this? Because I know you pretty well now, and that's not you.
Well, ultimately, I want to win, and I think when we got in here on Sunday, there's a lot of really, really smart offensive coaches and defensive coaches too. We're very fortunate with a great staff, but I was probably more involved than I usually am. But just some things I had been able to get ahead a little bit on Gadsden, and some things that we thought. Now they did not structurally show us what we thought. They were not in man coverage all night. We had worked on what we call mansers, which are man answers, just, anyway, in a little period of practice. And we had thrown the ball around and rubbed and kind of created some matchups that we liked with some motion and things, and they didn't show that. And so we kind of had to adjust, and then ended up, ran the ball 52 times. We haven't done that all year. Wow. But it was the light box that we were getting. And, early in the game, about midway through the first quarter, I said the box is softer than I thought it would be. And that just means that we're having more success in there. and we were holding up better because they were so big and pretty up there and everything, and just able to run the football. I thought that was huge. But yeah, I was, I said in the show last week, I want to be creative and be willing to do that. I told our quarterback club, I said, hey, we may fake a field goal, we may do some things that we hadn't done, which is a little bit out of our comfort zone, but we need that spark. And I think we found the spark early. The defining moment, not just in the game, but in the year to me, was the double pass at Coleman. Just to figure out that's who we kind of need to be. Not gimmicky, but have some things in there that can be specials and we can execute. And, up until Friday, we had two quarterbacks on the field at the same time, so they can do that stuff. You saw a throw back to Landon. You saw a throw from Landon to Noah, on the fake field goal. So we have kids that can handle the football, can execute, and so we need to use that. And that can help us keep defenses off balance.
Well, and I do want to talk about special teams. We talked about the onside kick that really wasn't an onside kick. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But what can you say about your two guys? This is their first year actually with varsity action.
Yeah.
And they did pretty well.
Yeah, Noah was the special teams player of the week. He's 4-4 on PATs and 1-1 on field goal. He kicked a 19-yarder. Really tough decision there to go or not, but I felt like it ended up being the difference in the game. But I felt like we needed points early. We had driven and had the fake field goal to Noah up until that point, and then Noah Yates knocked it right through, and so really did a good job. And then Alex Hatfield kicking off. We didn't kick off great. Our field position was not where we wanted it to be, but he had one big kick deep left when Kirkpatrick went out, so we were able to kick the ball deep because I told him on the headset, we're not kicking it to this guy. I don't care if they get it at midfield. We're not going to let him beat us like he had beaten everybody else.
Right.
And so we kicked it deep left, and then Alex, who's a first-year player, soccer guy, goes and tackles a guy. He at least slowed him down long enough and put his face in there, and so just he's all in, and so really proud of our special teams. Coach Atkins continues to do a great job. Wade Miller does our coverage piece and does a great job with it. We're starting to put some 10th graders on there a little bit more. Auburn Herring was on there this week, starting to do that to give kids reps. Kind of you think about Jace Pruitt from last year,
right?
Saban from last year, guys that played on all the special teams so that they could be ready for this year. That's what our plan is, and we're starting to see that happen, but just really proud of that group as well.
Well, and this segment, I do want to end on a somber note.
Yeah.
Landon Blackwood got injured. What can you say about what he's meant and how he has contributed to this point and what he means to this team?
Well,
we're not forgetting you.
Yeah, well, and we don't know the outcome yet, and but he's in the best hands at the Andrews Clinic today to be seen. It's one of those deals, man, where life's not fair. For a kid like him, he sat here and waited his turn and played receiver and just was here every day and locked in and was following right along in the footsteps of his brother. Just an outstanding family, and I hate it for him so much. But he's still going to be part of it, regardless of what the diagnosis is. And he becomes, coach if he is injured. He becomes a guy that Noah can lean on, and they're best friends anyway. And so, he can lean on and help our team still, as a great person, great in our Bible study, and just a great young man. And, sometimes life's not fair, and you just kind of question why. And, it's just really tough. So hate to see that, but again, the way that he handles everything, he'll handle this one with such maturity and understanding, and he's a special person.
Okay, thank you. We'll be right back. You're watching the Coach Bryan Moore Show.
Hi, I'm Jenny Tankersley.
I'm Dwight Tankersley.
And I'm Rejane Hampton, and we're your agency on Main. Local realtors here to serve you. One of our team members will be more than happy to find you that perfect home. Go Tigers!
Come see us at Eddie Pruitt Ford. We're a proud supporter of Hartselle Athletics.
Okay, and we're back, and I have the two offensive coordinators here, Will Lang, Matt Prater. They have been voluntold. I know y'all are excited to be here today. Usually Matt is going to be our run game guy. Will is going to be our passing game guy. And so I've tried to direct my questions to each of you based on what your roles are. So, Will, I'm going to start with you. We had 4 different guys line up at the QB position. From a preparation standpoint, was this standard for you guys in a given week, or why did y'all step outside your comfort zone so much?
Well, ultimately, we looked at the touches of Rye and Lincoln and figured out that they needed that during this stretch of games, they've got to touch the ball more. So ultimately, we just came up with some motions, called some things differently so that they could touch the ball more, and that's really what it amounted to. And when Landon was healthy, Noah needed to touch the ball too because he's such a good runner. So it's just all about touches and getting the right guys the ball.
Okay, and Matt, it's your turn. I know that Player of the Week was Noah Lee, and offensive line was not. I had a couple linemen in my classes, and I was like, well, you had 2 false starts and 3 sacks. So I know that's what took them out. But they did allow 200. We had 280 yards on the ground. So they improved. So tell us about what they did to get better.
Well, it's a process for them, and it's every day of practice. It's the same things, the same drills, the same me in their ear over and over. And so over time, they're getting better. They're starting to learn to play more physical, to stay connected to people early on, especially like Austin game, Jackson Ellen game. We really struggled staying connected. And that's one of the biggest things that has improved. And I thought they did a really good job of Friday night of staying connected, especially to the front 4 and allowing our backs to just, run, make runs, make cuts, get in the open field and do what they do.
Well, and this is for both of you guys. When I talk to Coach Moore, he talks about us having a balanced offensive game plan. This week we ran for 52 different times. We ran the ball 52 times, and we passed for 15. Not very even. So why did we do that? Why were we so run heavy on the game plan? Or was that dictated during the game? Did we just kind of switch it up as the game went on?
It was actually not necessarily planned that way. I mean, we are this year a little more run heavy than we have been in the past, but when we got in the game, they played 2 high safeties. In other words, they didn't have an extra guy in the box on the fit, and we kept saying after the first drive, if they're going to stay too high, we're going to keep running the ball. And they stayed too high pretty much the entire game, so we just continued to run the ball, and the offensive line responded, and the backs had a good night, and quarterbacks, everybody that touched the ball did an excellent job.
That's great. I have another question for you. You lose your starting quarterback and your number 1, basically, wide receiver, and one field swoop there. How did that alter your game plan there at halftime?
Well, obviously Landon going out, I feel awful for him, and we're hoping for good news. But I feel fortunate that Noah is the competitor that he is, number 1, and then that he prepares like he does, because I felt there's a couple plays that we had to take out just because those 2 were involved, specifically them 2. But other than that, I really call-wise, it didn't change a whole lot because Noah knows everything. Right. So, now we'll tailor it a little more towards him and what he does best in this week specifically. But, call-wise, it didn't really change a whole lot. So,
okay, I have a fan question. So this will frustrate Matt more, so I'm going to ask him. You guys are supposed to be co-coordinators, right? So one of the styles of play that is very popular now is a run-pass option. So who calls that? If you're calling run, he's calling pass, who gets to call the RPOs? Because we have a lot of RPOs.
Well, they're built in. I mean, we have tags off of all of our plays, offensively, run plays, and they're kind of built in throughout the week. And really, to be honest with you, it's determined by quarterback and the looks, and he tells them to look forward during the week. So if we get this look, even though we got this run called, I want you to put the ball out there and let's live with it. And so that's kind of the way that works. It's not really, we kind of marry, as you can see on the board over there, every Sunday we figure out what runs we want to run, what passes, what sets, and then we try to mix it all together, what RPOs, and go from there. So it's not a set. This is a set call.
So you're putting a lot of faith in your quarterback.
Yes.
Okay. That's awesome. Just no pressure there. I talked to Coach Newton about we had a couple of what I thought were just completely game-changing moments. For defense, it was the recovery of the fumble in the end zone for the touchdown. But for you guys, when I saw it was even body language, that drive right at the end of the half when you could tell Gadsden City was tired, and we ran with tempo. I had not seen us run with tempo before. Tell us a little bit about that drive, why we decided to go with tempo, and it just seemed like that just ignited a whole new level of confidence for our guys.
Well, for one, we've played with tempo the past couple of years because, that fit us best. This year, we don't know if that necessarily fits us best. Controlling the ball is more important this year than it has been in the past. And so we're intentionally not playing with a ton of tempo. However, we practice with tempo. So we do have the ability to do that if need be. And then we just felt like they were kind of gassing out a little bit. So it was, hey, let's get up to the line, run plays a little faster, and hopefully gash them at, late in the half there. So
Gotcha. All right, now what can y'all say about Noah Lee's performance? We don't want to discount him. He was our 80-foot forward player of the game. Talk about his resilience and what you thought about him going from receiver to quarterback all in the same game and leading us to victory.
Well, the importance of him in this offense is I can't really describe how important he is, because when he's playing receiver, he's getting everybody right, getting them all lined up, making sure they know what to do. And then obviously he's a really good runner, okay, and he's a good passer too. It's just he hasn't had to show that yet. It's his just ability to just know everything at every position is incredible, and he's probably one of the toughest, if not the toughest guy on the team. Okay, so I'm looking forward to watching him play in the weeks to come.
That's awesome. We'll be right back. You're watching the Coach Bryan Moore Show. I'm here with our player of the week, 80-foot forward player of the week, Noah Lee. And Noah, I'm going to start sad and we'll get better as we go. But your best friend at QB gets hurt, okay? And you're our leading receiver. So we lost our quarterback and leading receiver all in one swift play. Did he say something to you at halftime to kind of get you ready for what was coming up? Did you get to talk to him at all?
Not really. He was just, I was in pain for him. I just saw him crying. I'm like, this isn't good. Because Landon's the type of guy, he's up. Like, if he is down on the ground, then you know it's bad. And he just, and then for him to go out and crown the queen, I don't know how he did it. I would not have been able to. But he didn't say anything to me. He was just he wanted to get back out there, but going and getting checked on.
We've got to have some MRIs
Yeah.
before we do that. But now let's turn to some of the questions that I usually ask some of the other players, because we kind of give you all the same questions because we like to see all the comparison with the answers. So what's your favorite moment so far this season? And it can be preseason. It doesn't have to be a game. You can be practices. But what's been your favorite moment so far?
There's a moment in that Gadsden City game where we're in the sugar huddle and some defensive player for Gadsden City said something, and somebody in the huddle, I don't really remember who it was, but said something hilarious, and we just all started laughing. And that was very, our team felt close. Like
What's the sugar huddle?
It's just wasted. It was just wasted time.
Got it.
Yeah.
So that was when y'all were running the clock
Just
down.
run the clock down and just huddled up.
That was one of the funniest things was when I watched the coaches that was when they actually kind of lost it, was trying to get you guys not to run another play because they saw the clock was running out. And
we thought he was out of bounds, so
they were out on the field screaming. That was the most enthusiasm I saw out of some of them. But I know you play receiver. You've played receiver. You play quarterback. So I'm going to switch up the question. I usually ask if you play another position, but let's talk about defense. We're going to put Noah Lee on defense. Where are you going to go?
I'd probably go safety.
Okay, that was my favorite. What part of your game are you going to work on the most now? Because I mean, you had to be ready for two positions.
Yeah.
So now you're going to be QB1, until we find out what's going on with Landon, and maybe even then after. So what's our point of concentration right now?
Just, I'd say knocking the rust off, because I've been just going at receiver, like just working on blocking. My blocking's improved a lot, but now it's just like getting back to about, I'd say, where I was, like just controlling it again.
Do you think the blockies helped you get ready to take a hit? But
Oh, no doubt, yeah.
When you're rushing, it's going to help the contact.
And it's also helped me give a better perspective of our offense, like the work that those guys do and how hard it is out there.
Awesome.
It's a challenge.
Awesome. Okay, we've asked this every week. Who has the best drip?
I'd say J5, Jacaleb Godwin.
Okay. That's the first vote. We've had votes for Drake and for Cole Miles nominated himself.
Of course, Cole did.
We had some Peyton Steele, so Jacaleb, there's
J5,
your first.
I got you, boy.
There's your first vote. Also, what's your favorite part of practice? This is the last question.
Let's see. Recently it's been the special teams, because during special teams, me and Landon we'd have like crossbar challenges, and me, Coach Lang, and Landon, we'd have like throw into the bucket challenge. Those are fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Get to have some time with Coach Lang. He's on the show today, by the way.
Is he?
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll be right back. You're watching the Coach Bryan Moore Show.
This is Shane Odom with Marmac Commercial Real Estate. We approach real estate with our 3I approach: integrity, intelligence, and innovation. To be your full-service real estate company that can handle all your real estate needs, from commercial, such as warehouse, retail, apartments, to land, farms, residential developments, along with houses, such as investment homes or your dream home. Marmac Commercial Real Estate has over 15 years experience providing award-winning full-service real estate experience. One team, endless possibilities. Marmac Commercial Real Estate.
Hi, welcome back to the Coach Bryan Moore Show. I'm here with Coach Bert Newton. Coach, he's our defensive coordinator and assistant head coach. And Coach, let's talk about some of our defensive stuff that happened at the Gadsden City game. Big play to me was the fumble in the end zone, recovered for a touchdown. Can you walk us through that? I think that was a big turning point.
It was huge. It was set up with a great punt, pin him deep, and I was going to go safe. I just want to get out of the half and get gone, and then Coach Holloway on top said, "You can steal two right here." And I said, I was like, you know what? If we're going to steal two, let's steal two. So we tried to get the safety and brought 7-man pressure, which isn't a real defense, but we do it. And it turned out great. Jay did a great job and got the ball out, and we got the ball. We had a great spill, and it was, anyway, it ended up being the turning point in the game.
Yeah, it was. It was. I saw an intensity and an effort from Hartselle guys that I hadn't seen before, like a joy, and I don't know. It was a whole nother level we took it to. What did we do to do that?
I think just the game being on the line and you know, all that, and I've heard Coach Moore say all week, you know, this is my favorite game, and I was like, well, I really like that Coleman game. That 42-0 game was great, but my favorite part of the game, honestly, was in the fourth quarter when we didn't go back out. We stayed on the grass. That's the best defense we can have. We stayed on the grass and scored. I mean, we didn't score, but it was like 10 plays, and it took up 4-something minutes, and literally the definition of 4-minute offense and how I think we have to win games. So, that was my favorite part of the night, was that, just sitting over there not saying stack trigger.
Okay, but now
just making judgment with Coach Folks on the headsets.
That's awesome. I try to look for the good, but we got to look at some of the things that maybe we need to work on. When I looked at your stat sheet, I saw 16 missed tackles.
Yep.
Tell me about that. How did that happen? What are we going to work on?
Well, number 4 and number 5 and number 27 from Gadsden were very hard to tackle. That's part of it. And we addressed it in Sunday meetings and even this morning. And, we got to keep our feet and run through guys and we got to get more guys at the ball. When you play great skill guys, it's going to be part of it. And, of course, this next week we're playing a bunch of great skill guys.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then, all right, big plays. You had 6 against you.
Yep.
For 180 yards.
Mm-hmm.
If you had not had those, they would have had right at 100 yards of offense, somewhere around thereabouts. What is your benchmark for that? Where you want to be? Because I don't think you can be perfect.
We don't want to be perfect, but I mean less than 2.5, less than 3 a game maybe. I love Noah Gibson to death, and he's one of my favorite kids in the world. But by the call, I matched him up man on man with number 5 out of the backfield, and that's not a match that we can win without cheating. Which I've told him, look, cheat, tackle him, and get a personal foul or pass interference. I'm good with it. So it's that was on me. We didn't hug the back one time on a screen that gave them a free play, and we talked yesterday. It was, I feel like Coach Moore and the offensive staff talked about it's one guy, 10 guys doing it right, but one guy bust, and that's what happened to us Friday night. We'd have one guy bust, and if you have number 5 carrying the ball, it's a touchdown.
Gotcha. All right, now this week we have another offensive player of the week. I mean, you started out pretty strong. We was defense. So we didn't have a guy up here to talk to, but who showed out for you? Who do you want to talk about this week?
Jace Pruitt had another captain-worthy ball game for sure. Not counting the touchdown, but did some great stuff in coverage. Great stuff off the edge. Cole Miles had a great game again. Coach Miller's guys are doing unbelievable. Jake Haynes had a good game. Jameson Falciani had his best game. So we had a bunch of guys. I mean, we still played really, really good football. We just gave up points that we usually don't because we had bust. That one guy deal, and then a great athlete gets it, and then they're gone.
Okay, let's talk about Oxford. Kamari Hampton, Mason Mims. You may have heard of both of those. That's the receiver and the quarterback.
Yes.
Hampton's already averaging, I think he's averaging right at 100 yards a game receiving, so, he's decent. Your Mims guy has lots of D1 offers, including Vanderbilt, which means he's no slouch in the gray matter. So how do we prepare for this?
So he's going to be a Power 5 quarterback, no doubt. Probably an SC guy if he wants to be. He makes all the right throws. I think that the biggest thing is changing up coverage on him, and then we're going to go try and hit him. We're going to try to get pressure on him, and that's going back to old school defense is we're either changing up your coverage for the guy, making him think on the back end, what's the back end doing, or we're going to go try to bring 5 and 6 and 7 people and try to get them on the ground and see if we'll step into throws late in the game.
Okay. All right. That was great, Coach.
All right. Thank you.
Stepping in. We'll be right back. You're watching the Coach Bryan Moore Show.
Peck Funeral Home is owned and operated by folks who live in the same communities they serve. Our employees are the heart of our business. The funeral home proudly employs over 30 local individuals. Currently, the funeral home is managed by Jeff Halbrooks, who has held that position for over 20 years. Our goal is simple and has remained the same now since 1929. Peck Funeral Home strives to provide genuine service from the heart.
Hi, we're back with the Coach Bryan Moore Show. Coach, let's look forward to next week. You're going to be facing a team in Oxford that, when I looked at their numbers and a little bit of film, they seem kind of like the antithesis of Gadsden City in that they're more finesse.
Yeah.
They're a big passing team. They're all this stuff. So what are we going to do? We're going to have to kind of do a 180 here.
Yeah.
How do you prepare for that?
Schematically, it's very different. They still can run the football. They're 2 electric backs. They are different structurally in how they go about it. They're going to throw the ball around. They've got an SEC quarterback that's the best I've seen since we've been here. He reminds me a lot of the kid from Briarwood that's at Clemson now. He's that talented. And so it's going to be, I said in the staff meeting, these games are really fun. And Coach Newton said, what do you think's so fun about this? Kind of deal. And, but, it is. It's a challenge, and it's a different kind, and that's the point. I didn't know when we scheduled Oxford, I didn't know they had an SEC quarterback, but I knew that they had really talented players, and around him are 4 really talented receivers. Got great length there. 3 of them are over 6'2". So it'll be, and our 5'8" guys are running around covering them, but that's the story of our lives, And they're good up front. They got a great offensive line coach, and their DC is really, really good and does a good job different. From a scheme standpoint, last year was all-man coverage, more zone this year. Played really hard. They got the Britt kid that's a 10th grader that brother played at Auburn. He's going to be an SEC guy, great ball get off, plays so hard and relentless. He's a dog. He really is. He goes and gets it and just plays so hard. And so it'll be fun, though. Again, it's extremely well coached. I think it's 2 of the best teams in North Alabama that'll be playing. I think everybody will be watching the game. And but this is why you're at Hartselle and why – we scheduled the way that we did is so that we could put ourselves in this platform and stage and see where we stack up, because we won't play anybody better than this in the playoffs. This is as good a team as we'll play in North Alabama, and we're just excited about the opportunity.
Well, and you're preparing yourself for all these different kinds of teams, so you will be prepared when it comes for a
There's no doubt.
All right, well, we covered Mims. We covered Moore. We covered Britt. Those were my 3 guys.
Yep.
And good luck to you. Let me go ahead. We're not going to take a quick break because I only had a couple questions for you. I've got a bunch for our offensive guys today. Eddie Pruitt, fan question of the week. She doesn't have a question. She has a quote. So this is a direct quote. I just really want to tell him I felt like this was his best game since coming to Hartsville, to be able to take a team in at halftime knowing you just lost your starting quarterback and motivating a team to come and play lights out. Great job, Coach. The next 3 weeks will be tough, but I feel like we're in good shape. Go Tigers.
Well, I appreciate that. And I appreciate her, support and running up down the sideline and, pushing our team and trying to, encourage our fans. And, I appreciate all our community. I've probably gotten more feedback and responses about this game than even playoff wins in the past. It was a great night. One that I think was, I mentioned this to the staff and to the team. I thought it was the most heart-soul win that we've ever had because, we're not as explosive and dynamic offensively as we were, but we found ways to make yards. They were tough. Our kids fought their tails off. We had, a kid go down and one step in that was our player of the week. And just really proud of us for, responding to that moment. She's right. Like, that can be so deflating. Right. When you lose such a great kid, like right. you just hurt for him and, all that goes on along with that. But for us to finish with the football, to convert the 4th down to Marcus, and then Marcus to jump off sides and have a moment and then make a play, though, to finish the ball game, and Noah to throw a back shoulder throw, and Noah scored the touchdown to go ahead and make it a 2-score game. Just all that went along with it. Just really proud of our team, and I'm with her. It was one of my favorite games here. It was a great one.
It may sound cliche, but I felt like that's when we became a team.
I agree. I think it was a defining moment. Coach Peck sent me a text Friday night or Saturday morning. Judge said the same thing. All the people that have been in Hartsville a long time said that's a defining moment for this program and this team. So really proud of the kids and the coaches. They did a great job.
Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it.
We'll be back next week. You're watching the Coach Bryan Moore Show. All right, this week in Hartsville. So that's fine. You're good now. Okay. All right, this week in Hartsville High Athletics. Let's start with Wednesday, September 27th. 9th grade volleyball is going to go to Hazel Green. Thursday, September 28th. The junior high football team is traveling to Coleman. The 29th, on Friday, we're hosting Oxford at J.P. Kane. Busy weekend for volleyball. On Saturday, the junior high goes to Gunnersville. 9th grade goes to the Supreme Courts tournament. JV is going to be in James Clemens for the county line tourney. And varsity is going to host a quad tournament here at the high school. Next Monday, miracle of miracles, there's nothing going on athletically, but we're going to rebound Tuesday when our volleyball team travels to Decatur. That's this week in Hartsville High Athletics.
Come see us at Eddie Pruitt Ford. We're a proud supporter of Hartsville Athletics.